Over nearly half a century, hip-hop has become hugely popular worldwide, but it also is being viewed with suspicion by law enforcement, with lyrics sometimes used in criminal trials against artists. Here are some of the major companies in the music industry that have signed a petition against that practice. There's also legislation calling for it to be restricted. One current example of that's getting a lot of attention, the upcoming trial of rapper Young Thug, whose real name is Jeffrey Williams. Prosecutors referenced several songs in his indictment. The Grammy-winning artist is charged with crimes related to gang activity and racketeering that are allegedly linked to murders and theft. He has pleaded not guilty. CBS News correspondent Skylar Henry went to New Orleans to meet with a former rising star who saw his career come to a halt when lyrics were used against him in court.
This is something I wrote years ago in prison that this was my therapy.
If you meet McKinley Phipps now.
Welcome to a place called Easy. The food's real greasy, the blocks are hot. Women off the heezy.
It's a far cry from the 20-year-old chart-climbing rapper known as Mac, signed to music mogul Master P's No Limit Records. His album Shell Shocked reached number 11 on the Billboard Top 200 in 1998.
It felt good to be a part of something that was big. It felt good to be a part of something that was recognized all around the world.
But in an instant, Phipps's rise came crashing down in February of 2000, when a 19-year-old man was shot during an altercation at Phipps's show at a nightclub in Slidell, Louisiana. He later died. Detectives eventually took Phipps into custody after witnesses said he had a gun.
I pulled my gun out when I ran toward the door, and that was probably the biggest mistake I ever made. I would later learn that because people saw me with this gun, that's kind of why people were like under the belief that maybe he did it.
Phipps was charged with first-degree murder.
It was all on MTV News. I never was on MTV until I caught a charge.
A member of Phipps's entourage admitted to the shooting, but he says that confession fell on deaf ears. During the trial, prosecutors zeroed in on the same lyrics that made Phipps a star.
The thing that you grew up loving to do from the time you was 7 years old gets brought forth front and center and used against you. Where's your mind? Do you say, that's not even what I said?
You took two different songs, spliced them together to make what you feel, to basically make the statement you wanted to make.
Murder, 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 kill, 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 kill.
One song was Murder, Murder, Kill, Kill, which was like a straight battle rap. The other one was a song called Shell Shock, and the line that they referred to was actually a line about my father. They said, this young man said, murder, murder, kill, kill. If you F with me, I'll put a bullet in your brain.
Not only do prosecutors cherry pick lyrics and decontextualize them to serve their own purposes, but they often do it without any knowledge or understanding of rap music at all.
Eric Nielsen, co-author of Rap on Trial and a professor at the University of Richmond, says rap lyrics have been used as evidence in more than 500 cases against artists since 1991.
In your studies, have there been cases in other genres where their lyrics have been considered in criminal prosecutions?
Rap music is the only fictional form, musical or otherwise, that is targeted like this in the courts.
Nielsen says Phipps's case is one of the most egregious he's ever seen.
I'm not here to tell you that somebody is guilty or innocent. I'm only here arguing for a person's right to a fair trial. But I've always had one exception, and that exception is Mac Phipps.
A jury convicted Phipps of manslaughter and sentenced him to 30 years in prison. Former Georgia prosecutor Chris Timmons.
What do you think of the strategy of incorporating lyrics into prosecution as a whole, just as a strategy from a legal perspective?
I mean, if you've got a confession, whether that confession rhymes, whether it's set to music, you're going to want to use it if you're a prosecutor. Same thing with defense, you're going to want to keep it out. I mean,
Timmons, who had no connection to Phipps's trial, has tried more than 100 cases and has used rappers' music videos to link them to criminal street gangs.
I didn't use any of their lyrics. I didn't feel like any of their lyrics were relevant to this robbery. But what I did use was the lyrics in the video to show that these people have a relationship.
Phipps served 21 years of the 30-year sentence and was released from prison in 2021 after being granted clemency.
I can definitely say I'm more conscious of the messages that I want to convey to the audience. I would never censor myself, but I do value my words more.
Son of the city, I'm one with the gritty. I come from the slum, but I'm not one to pity.
Today, Mac is back. His album, Son of the City, debuted last October. His first project since coming home from prison.
I don't have too many songs, if I have any, about prison life. Because the whole time I was in prison, I was imagining myself free.
Never got high on the grind. I was born to the light, blame God when it shine. I'm divine, sprung from the belly of the beast. Home feel like I ain't fit the belly.
Like, share, subscribe.